Welcome back to Oathbound Gaming. My name's Greg, or Nekrage from the Ornthul. Today we're looking at Mystic. We're looking at Mystic in Elyon, or Elyon, however you want to pronounce the game. We're looking at all of the abilities that the Mystic has, all of the skill attributes, all of the skills. We're going to look into them, deep dive into this, and see exactly what this Mystic class is made of. So let's get started. Fine Light is their first ability. Unleashes Fine Light on the target to deal damage. It recovers energy by 20 upon hit. What attributes do we have? Move speed does not decrease when using the skill. The skill can be used while dash is active. Dash is the sprint. Changes Fine Light into a skill that can heal allies but cannot heal yourself. Grants a healing effect equal to 13 power to the target and surrounding 3 allies every 0.5 seconds. When it hits a target 5 times, it grants a healing effect equal to 38 power to a total of 5 allies within a 10-meter range, including the target. Inflicts wounded on targets hit by Fine Light for 5 seconds. Increase the power of Fine Light by 50%. Let's try that, shall we? These enemies are pretty weak. I want to see what that is. Cannot heal while active. So you're putting a debuff on them that makes them unable to heal. That's pretty cool. If we change this, we can heal allies too. So there you go. Fine Light becomes a heal rather than a damage attack. And it pulses a heal. Pretty cool. I brought a friend along so I can show off the heals. Toxic. Oh wait, we want to check the last one out. Expands the breadth of Fine Light to increase the damage by 100% and deal additional blows to a max of 5 enemies within a 3 meter of the target's surroundings. That might be okay. Toxic Swarm. Creates a Toxic Swarm that temporarily lingers in the hit location while dealing continuous damage. Splinter. Does not split even when attacking multiple targets. Measured Toxic Swarm can only be installed when the Toxic Swarm unleashed by the caster makes contact with the terrain or reaches the max range. The installed Toxic Swarm does not stay in place, but instead follows the caster at a slow speed for 8 seconds. While following the caster, it deals damage with power that increases by 25% every second to surrounding enemies. The effect that increases Mana Awakening's power does not apply to Toxic Swarm projectiles. Increases the effect range of Toxic Swarm by 2 meters and the max number of blows by 2 targets. Increases the duration by 2 seconds. The effect that increases Mana Awakening's power does not apply to Toxic Swarm's projectile. When Toxic Swarm's duration ends, activates an explosion in the corresponding range that deals 300 power as nature damage and inflicts knockdown. The power of the damage does not split even when the explosion hits multiple targets. The effect that increases Mana Awakening's power does not apply to Toxic Swarm's projectiles. Changes into a targeting skill. The Toxic Swarm follows the selected target for 8 seconds while continuously dealing damage. Increases the power of Toxic Swarm by 50%. The effect that increases Mana Swarm's power does not apply to Toxic Swarm projectiles. Interesting. Toxic Swarm. Let's try this thing out. Oh, looks like our dude is hurt. Let's get a heal for him, shall we? Looks like he got himself hurt. Yay, we can heal him now. Fine Light. Not too bad. So your continuous heal. Alright. So we got a Toxic Swarm on this enemy here. And this should explode. Wait, did I modify it? Nope, I did not. I did the one that increases the... Oh, this is the explosion one. So it is a skill shot. You could throw multiple out. That thing is pretty crazy. It does a little explosion afterwards. These enemies are a little weak, so they don't survive very long. Not a bad skill, though. I do like that. What else can we use? What else can it do? Increases the effect range of Toxic Swarm. Increases the duration. Wish we had this one. I'd love to see that. Okay, anyway, moving on. Restrained Vine. Uses nature power to temporarily draw underground roots above ground and bind surrounding enemies. Restrained Vine extends out in 6 directions from the caster. Deals the same number of max blows and effect as the basic Restrained Vine. Changes into a stackable skill 2 times. So you get 2 uses. Using the skill activates a circular Restrained Vine within an 8-meter radius for 8 seconds right in front of the caster. Continuously inflicts bind to enemies entering the Restrained Vine area. That's crazy. Changes Restrained Vine into a skill that fires high-angle projectiles. Projectiles explode when it hits a target, dealing the same effects as the existing Restrained Vine to a circular range within 4 meters. Increases the power of Restrained Vine's continuous damage by 200%. Ooh. Does some damage too, and it continuously ticks. That's pretty good. That's not bad at all. I'm gonna go ahead and run over to another area with a little bit of some stronger enemies while we I know where we can go. While we look at these skills. We'll go around there. Let's take a look at our next one. Restrained Vine is pretty cool though. That's a good ability. Star Call summons multiple lights that follow the voices of stars that then launches them all at once at enemies. Light homing projectiles. Covers the caster's energy by 10 for each time the skill succeeds. Changes Star Call so the projectile does not split even when attacking multiple targets. Launches 4 additional Star Call projectiles when the skill is used. Increases projectile by 4 for each locked on target. Increases Star Call's critical hit rate by 50% and is automatically re-inflicted on targets when it activates a critical hit. However, Starfall's critical hit rate decreases by 5% every time it reactivates. So your crit rate is quite low every time it reactivates, but if you have very, very high crit, that could be deadly. That could be real deadly. I like that though. Let's no, I'm gonna go around this area. Let's go back the other way, but now let's go with the lock-on. What do you say? Let's go with the lock-on one. Star Call should be pretty cool. Alright, we're just about there. These should do. So this should be a lock-on now. We should be able to... Oh, that's cool. Combo this with the ground. Purple ground. That's fun. That's Toxic Swarm. That's the name of that skill. That's an all-around fun skill. I do like that. With the Restrained Vine. In my other video, I do cover a little bit about the Mystic when during the character creation, and I do explain that the Mystic can hold their own during grinding and stuff. They can do it. They can do it. They can actually kill stuff as the healer class. I know that's different in MMOs, right? Usually you rely on other people, but that is pretty cool. The class can manage on their own for sure. Lightstorm unleashes a whirlwind of light to the front that pierces through enemies. That must mean pierces. Pierces through enemies while dealing damage. Also applies Stiffen, which makes them temporarily immobilized. Changes Lightstorm into a charging skill. Increases the projectile size and power as the charge increases. Stage 0, same as existing. Stage 1 increases the projectile size by 2 times and the power by 100. Stage 2 increases the projectile size by 3 times and the power... Oh, I'm getting attacked. Let's see what the skill's about without any modifier. So a little bit of a push. We'll use this. We'll hit him with the vines. Alright, let's step away from them so we don't get bothered anymore. So it changes Lightstorm into a homing projectile that tracks targets for 4 seconds while repeatedly dealing the same damage. Has a 20% chance to automatically fire Lightstorm in 8 directions from the caster upon taking a hit. Like the existing Lightstorm, this can be used by entering the skill key. Changes Lightstorm into a slowly advancing veil that lasts for 6 seconds even when it reaches the end of its range. Enemies hit with the veil are inflicted with knockback. However, the skill's cooldown is increased to 15 seconds. The effect that increases the power of Mana's Awakening projectile does not apply while the Veil of Light stays in place. Increase the power of Lightstorm by 100%. That would not be worth the points in my opinion. It looks like actually the most basic one seems to be pretty good. Let's see. Charge, push. Not bad. Sunlight. Scatters sunlight on the target and their surroundings to attack. Mobilizes and disables skills. Cancels the skill of a target with shield defense on it. And Splinter. Damage does not split even when attacking multiple targets. Changes the skill to shine sunlight in 4 directions to the caster's surrounding. Each beam of sunlight hits a max of 5 targets and inflicts the same effect as the basic sunlight. Using the skill applies the caster with the enemy's attack evasion effect and consumes 2,000 stamina instead of energy. Healing 4 additional little sunlights to the target 0.5 seconds after they are hit with the skill. Deals 50 power as light damage each time little sunlight hits the target. Just find it funny they're calling it little sunlight. Little sunlight! Increase damage by up to 5 times as the target's remaining HP decreases. Ooh. Wow. Increase the attack range of sunlight by 2 meters. The max number of blows by 2 targets and the skill power by 50%. Increase the stun duration by 0.5 seconds. So 717 that hit for. Let's see what it hits for this time, now that he's got a little bit less health. Instead of 717, 1499 one more time, right? Let's see what it hits for when he's at real low health. $5,271 crit. Damn. Leaf. The name of the ability is Leaf. Summons a giant leaf that glides to the front to move quickly when mounted. While mounted, a giant sprout can be summoned to attack enemies. Increase move speed by 70, grants immunity from all crowd control effects. Decrease damage taken by 50%. Mobilize and disable skill. I gotta try this here. Alright. And then you can like flip off it and do that amazing little back flip, and then you kick enemies up in the air. That's pretty cool. Modifiers. Skill attributes. Increase move speed of surrounding allies within 15 meters by 70 while on the leaf. While the sprout combo skill is active, activates 8 more sprouts randomly within the surrounding 15-meter area to deal the same effects. Increase the power of the sprout combo skill by 50% every 0.5 seconds while the skill is active for a max of 500%. Changes the sprout combo skill to use targeting. The effects of sprout is the same as the basic skill. So you're saying, while I'm riding this, the sprout skill increases in strength. Yes, it does! It's a pretty hard hit. Summon Spirit Tree Spirit. Breathes powerful life into the earth to immobilize above-ground enemies and summon a tree spirit that fights alongside you. Deals 20 physical damage and taunts when attacking. Summons 2 additional tree spirits when the skill is used. Activates tree bark on the caster when tree spirit is summoned, and it absorbs damage equal to 40% of max vitality for 15 seconds while tree bark is active. The tree spirit takes 50% of your damage taken on your behalf. Grows a thicket in the location where the tree spirit is summoned. The thicket lasts for 6 seconds and increases dodge by 600 for yourself and party members within the corresponding area. Let's go with 2 additional little tree boys. Go. We'll mobilize the enemy. I got little spirit tree dudes. They're doing some damage. We had him. Finish him. Wait, you had enough?
Not a valid target.
I think I left combat. After a time, if you leave combat, like you're not attacking, which, I mean, you would never not attack anyway, so that's a non-issue. But it looks like they decide to leave as well when you leave combat. Gathers nature power together and summons a plant that wields its body like a whip to attack enemies. The plant shoots out from the ground to deal damage to enemies and inflict them a knockback. It only attacks enemies approaching nearby. It does 160 physical damage to nearby enemies. It has a low chance to apply stiffen. It knocks back. And their attributes is changes into a stackable skill, so you can summon 3 of them. Changes Whip Root into Spike Bloom and summons 3 Spike Blooms when used. Spike Blooms launch piercing spike projectiles to attack surrounding enemies within 15 meters. The launch spikes deal 40 power as nature damage and has a 15% chance to inflict stiffen. Changes Whip Root to be summoned to the caster's location when the skill is used. After Whip Root is summoned, Whip Root movement can be used for 10 seconds. Using Whip Root, movement summons Whip Root to the caster's location once again, then teleports the caster to the initial Whip Root's location. Let's try that out. So we can summon one. And we'll be like, oh, fight me, bro. Boom. So I came this way, and it summoned another one on that side, and this one still remained here as well. And it is proccing the stiffen, so it is not moving. Pretty good. I also wanted to try this one out. I'm sure you guys would want to see this one, right? Skills on cooldown. I gotta wait. So we are gonna try a summon. Little spiky flower. And then another summon. And now we got Spirit Tree and the spiky flowers. Now you're a summoner. You're not just a healer. You're a summoner boy now. That's right. One other thing. The tab skill. Every class has a skill that's on tab. It is not in this list of skills. You can't remove it. It's always on tab. The healer can resurrect people. Resurrect allies that fall in battle. Which is very useful because you can do that in the middle of boss fights. If you're running around, you're staying alive, trying to avoid enemy attacks, you can avoid big AoEs long enough to cast that res, you can bring someone back that died during a boss fight. So it is definitely useful. Alright, next batch of skills. Nature's Protection. Gathers the surrounding nature power and shares it with surrounding allies. It absorbs damage equal to 15% of max vitality, grants immunity from stiffen and knockback. Changes the direction of Nature's Protection to changes the duration of Nature's Protection to 5 seconds. Activates an explosion when the effect expires or is removed, dealing 250 power as nature damage and inflicting stun for 2 seconds to a 5-meter radius of the target's surroundings. Adds an effect that grants allies immunity from all crowd control effects for 5 seconds while Nature's Protection is active. However, no immunity to crowd control is applied to the caster, increases the skill cooldown by 50%. Increases damage of all skills by 15% while Nature's Protection is active. When Nature's Protection expires or is removed, it has a 35% chance of reactivating. That's pretty cool. So, this is a hard one to show, I guess. Let's go with this one. Change duration of Nature's Protection, 5 seconds. Well, you know what? No. Let's just use the basic Nature's Protection. If we look down at the health, what is it? Changes from 6,400 max to 7,359. So it gives you a bit of a shield like that. That is really, really good. Really good. Like, better than you probably realize. And like, once you get into PvP and stuff, getting 15% increased health and immunity to stiffen and knockback, that's massive. That's a good thing to bring to PvP for your team. Lightsphere. Materializes a sphere of light that pierces through enemies while mid-air and launches it to the front. Weird description. Changes Lightsphere into a non-piercing projectile. When Lightsphere hits a target or expires, another large Lightsphere is activated in the corresponding location. The large Lightsphere deals 70 power as light damage every second to a max of 5 enemies within a circular range with a 3-meter radius for 4 seconds. The effect that increases the power of Mana's awakening projectile does not apply to large Lightsphere. Temporarily inflicts knockback to enemies hit with Lightsphere. Launches a high-angle Lightsphere that explodes when it makes contact with enemies on the ground. Damage does not split even when it hits multiple enemies. Increases the power of Lightsphere by 25%. Changes the skill to consecutively fire 3 light spheres when used. Cool. Let's go with this one. I like that. So you can throw out a lot of them. And there's a whole ton of exploding things on the ground. So you can get a fair amount of AoE on this class too with stuff like this. Remember when I said they could hold their own in battle? And they're alright. Moonbeam consumes Aurora to unleash moonlight magic in all directions. Aurora stacks when using light property skills, excluding Fine Light and Moonbeam. 5 stacks max. Moonbeam is available at 5 stacks. So we'd have to use light-based skills. Moonbeam, huh? I don't think this is considered one, though. Ah, it is. So there's 5 stacks right there. You see that down at the bottom left, and my buff's down over here. So I should be able to use Moonbeam right now. And there it is. Let's see the modifiers of that and try that again. Moonbeam. Enables Moonbeam to be used even without Aurora, however increases the skill cooldown to 10 seconds. Changes Moonbeam to non-piercing projectile that changes into full Moonbeam when it hits an enemy, lasting for 5 seconds. The fixed full Moonbeam deals the same damage as the original Moonbeam every second to enemies in that corresponding location. The effect that increases power of Mana Awakening's projectiles and knockdown does not apply to full Moonbeam. Changes into a designated range skill and fires into 5 directions from the designated locations. While this attribute is equipped, the Aurora effect can be obtained by using the Fine Light skill. Increases the power of Moonbeam by 50%. Fine Light should be... Where's Fine Light? Did I pass it? Oh, Fine Light, okay. That's the basic, that's the first skill. Should have known. While this is equipped, the Aurora effect can be obtained by using Fine Light. So Fine Light helps you get those stacks needed to use Moonbeam. Okay. Let's try it, right? Screw it. Let's try it. Okay. So we're going to do that. There we go. We're getting the 5 stacks. Now we have it. Let's try right there. Boom. Radiates outwards. We can do it again. Boom. It's pretty nice being able to use that at range, like in the middle of a large enemy PvP group. It's not bad. Brilliant Resonance. Summons 2 lights that instantly activates a wave upon resonating together. When upon resonating together, to deal damage and inflict stun. Okay. So it's a wave, inflict stun. Also interrupts shield destruction. Rapid Brilliant Resonance. Greatly increases the skill's casting speed and changes it into a ground targeting skill. Changes it into a skill that launches projectiles in the direction of the crosshairs. If the skill is reused or expires automatically while the projectile is mid-flight, it installs a gateway of light in the corresponding location, which deals 80 power as ground targeting light damage for 6 seconds and has a 100% chance to activate critical hits, so it'll always crit. Activates Brilliant Resonance in a triangular area instead of a straight line. Targets hit with the point of the triangle are struck twice. If the triangle stays active for 5 seconds, dealing 80 power as damage and inflicting stun for 1 second with every hit. Increases the power of Brilliant Resonance by 25%. That's nice. Using this skill successfully activates 5 instances of Brilliant Light that resonate in the direction of the front of the caster. Increases the power of Brilliant Resonance by 50%. That was pretty cool, no? A line of blue beams. Let's try the triangle one. Stun locking them.
This skill requires
Oh, I can use that. I want to try the 100% chance to crit one. Not bad. Alright, Tidal Wave. Triggers a violent tidal wave. The wave advances slowly while attacking all enemies in its path. It also inflicts the airborne, immobilize, and disable skills. Increases the damage and healing dealt by a spirit by 1.2 times when tidal wave hits that spirit. So, spirit is a whiproot, and the tree spirit does the spike blooms count. I wonder if the spike blooms do count as that. I'm gonna find out. I'm not sure. Did I not drag? No, I didn't. I didn't drag that. I'll put that back in a bar. We're gonna find out. I'm not sure. Think outside the box, right? So we're gonna hit this. We're gonna summon these little spiky dudes. Can we buff them? Yeah, looks like they did get a buff. Did you see that? Actually, like, lit them up a little bit. Let's get the other ones too. Let's get the tree spirits involved with this. One more time. You guys will be patient and wait the 9 seconds for me, right? While I grab a drink for talking a lot all day. A lot of talking today in these videos. Alright. So let's summon our trees. Summon our little spirit bros. And let's tidal wave. I think I hit him. I hope. There's a lot of spirits you can get. A lot of pets. Alright, let's move on. Tidal wave, what else we get? A torrent of wave rushes into a circular range with an 18-meter radius in the caster's surroundings. It inflicts enemies within this range with the same effects as the existing tidal wave. Fires a high-angle bubble projectile when using the skill. Activates tidal wave in the same target in the same location where bubbles land. Increase the power of tidal wave by 100%. Effect increases mana awakening's power. Does not apply to tidal wave's projectiles. Adds a bubble effect when tidal wave is used. Grants an additional bubble effect when tidal wave hits allies. Bubble grants one-time immunity from all attacks for 10 seconds and increases power by 30% while the effect is active. The effect disappears after the one-time immunity. So they get immunity to one hit taken for 10 seconds. That's pretty good. Let's try the bubble throw. Yeah. Oh man, overshot it, but I hit that guy. Get him, little dude. I like it. It's pretty cool. Let's see. Boom. Strong hit and skill. Mysterious Mushroom. Throws a mushroom that uses nature's energy to activate a healing effect when stepped on. Mushroom lasts for 15 seconds. Overheat. Increase the energy cost of Mysterious Mushroom by 50%. Increases the energy cost. Overheat. So if you use it too much, I imagine. Yep. Take a look at that. It's going to start getting more expensive. Look at the energy cost. That's that blue bar here. It got real expensive. You can't just spam them like crazy. Mushrooms last for 15 seconds. Cool heals. When the healing mushroom disappears, mushroom spores appear in its place for 4 seconds. Mushroom spores grant nature power healing equal to 10 power every second for 4 seconds. However, the effect of mushroom spores do not apply to the caster. Removes the effect that increases the energy cost when using Mysterious Mushroom. Change Mysterious Mushroom into Toxic Mushroom. Toxic Mushrooms deal 80 power as nature damage to enemies it makes contact with and inflicts them with continuous damage equal to 40 power every second for 6 seconds along with Stiffen. 3 stacks max. Whoa, that is a lot of text! Alright, I'm ready. Increase the cooldown of Mysterious Mushroom to 12 seconds. Using this skill creates 6 random healing mushrooms. Fiery Mushroom, Freezing Mushroom, Golden Mushroom, and the caster surrounding area. Out of the mushrooms created, golden and healing mushrooms explode only when they make contact with the caster or allies. Fiery and freezing mushrooms only explode when they make contact with enemies. When fiery mushrooms explode, they inflict scorching heat and deal 350 power as fire damage to enemies within a 5-meter radius. Deals 10 power as continuous fire damage every 2 seconds when scorching heat is active, 3 stacks max. When freezing mushrooms explode, they deal 100 power as ice damage and inflicts deep freeze for 3 seconds to enemies within a 5-meter radius. Inflicts crowd control for 3 seconds and deals 30 additional electric damage when deep freeze is active. When golden mushrooms explode, they grant an effect that increases move speed increased by 50, attack speed 50, damage by 50% when it makes contact with allies or the caster. The effect of healing mushrooms is the same as the existing skill. The effect that increased mana awakening's power does not apply to this skill. Oh my god. Alright, we're going to go ahead and use the mushroom, see what we get. So we got a gold mushroom here, so I should be able to use this for additional damage and stuff. Didn't even hit anyone, that's a shame. We'll use these skills. Additional damage, additional move speed, I'm definitely faster. There's some fiery mushrooms here. The little spirit picked up one of the mushrooms. Wow, those things Kick the crap out of people. Let's try to summon these mushrooms now. Let's see. Oh, I gotta get one on the fire mushrooms, right? Oh, there he goes. 847. Let's try again. Hit him with this beam first. Oh no, he's stunned. Come get me. Boom, 844. Yeah, get the freezy mushroom. Haha! Oh, he hit the fire mushroom. Cool. That's pretty awesome. I do like that. Heals and stuff. I like the RNG of it. So the last thing it does is change Mysterious Mushroom into a charging skill, increases its size and effects by 50% for each charge. 4 stages max. Stage 1 instantly recovers 50 power as HP in addition to the existing Mystery Mushroom effect. Increases Mystery Mushroom size and effects by 50%, instantly recovers an additional 50 power. Increases Mysterious Mushroom size and effects by 100%, and instantly recovers an additional 100, and then 150% and 150 power as HP. Look at the video. Look how big the mushroom ends up getting. I think that's stage 2. Is this 3? No, this is 4. I think that's the biggest. So that's a pretty big heal. That's pretty cool. Oh, that's the biggest. That's a massive heal and a massive mushroom. Alright, Purifying Gust. Rapidly condenses the surrounding nature power, then detonates it by using repulsive force to remove beneficial effects from enemies and harmful effects from allies. That's awesome. So, good for supporting allies and removing some good stuff from enemies. Inflicts knockback to a max of 5 enemies within the effect range of Purifying Gust. Removes all movement impairing effects from yourself while teleporting 12 meters to the front, then using Purifying Gust. So you blink and use it. Increase the cooldown of Purifying Gust by 30%. Grants nature power healing effect equal to 100 power to allies hit with Purifying Gust. Increases critical hit rate by 5% for 5 seconds per target hit by healing effects. 5 stacks max. That's really good. So critical hit rate is increased by 5% for 5 seconds per target hit by healing. So you do an AoE healing, I bet you, we don't have that unlocked so we can't test it, but I bet you that affects the spirits, like the little pets you have. Because I'm thinking outside the box here. If we use that, then use Starfall here, which increases Starfall's critical hit rate by 50%, and it is automatically re-inflicted on targets when it activates a critical hit. So you're increasing your critical hit rate by potentially 25% by healing 5 targets. It could be some of your pets. That already increases it by 50%. So that's 75% just from those skills. Then you have your crit rate from your gear. That can be devastating if done properly. I'm seeing stuff. Don't steal my ideas. No one's allowed to do that, all right? Don't ever do that. That's trademark. All right, moving on. Oh, wait, I got to use Purifying Gust. I haven't moved it yet. I could do the knockback. It's not going to really show much, I guess. Let's get some mushrooms here, right? Let's knock the enemy back from this side. Let's see if we can knock him into mushrooms. Okay, knocked him way further, but haha, he walked into the mushroom. Alright, hit him with some of this. Distance myself, throw myself a tidal wave. Cool. Oh, summon some mushrooms on them. Let's push them. Oh, that's pretty cool, right? Alright. Summon Spirit. Spirit Bird. Concentrates nature power for an instant and summons a bird-like spirit that heals allies and the caster, then continuously heals the caster with the spirit's healing sphere. Spirit lasts for 15 seconds. Heals by 40 when the healing sphere succeeds. Vulnerable to ranged effects. So people can kill him. Supportive Spirit Bird. The Spirit Bird uses a healing sphere on a max of 5 nearby allies, including the summoner. Change the Spirit Bird into a projectile skill with a 15-second cooldown that flies to the front of the caster. Projectile explodes upon re-entering the skill key when the Spirit Bird, while the Spirit Bird is mid-flight. Explosion deals healing and damage to allies and enemies within an 8-meter circular range in the corresponding location. Grants allies a healing effect equal to 280 power and an effect that decreases damage taken by 15% for 5 seconds. Deals 180 power as nature damage to enemies and pulls them into the explosion surroundings. Effect that increases the power of Mana's Awakening. Does not apply to the blah 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 blah. Harmful effects are also removed when hit with Spirit Bird's Healing Sphere. Removes 2 harmful effects every time it hits. Nice. Change a Spirit Bird to summon Sparkwing. Sparkwing explodes when summoned to deal 200 power as fire damage to a max of 5 enemies within a surrounding 5-meter circular range. Sparkwing does not use Healing Spheres. Uses a skill that launches flames dealing 150 power as fire damage to surrounding enemies. Has a chance to deal 160 power as fire damage to 3 enemies within a 15-meter circular range every 0.5 seconds for 4 seconds, and continuously inflicts them with an effect that decreases movement speed by 50%. This attack effect won't be applied when out of range. I'm gonna go ahead and reset my skill points. I'm gonna let's turn this into a projectile. We can test this baby out. What? Pretty sure I clicked it twice. I might have deleted it. Mushroom, mushroom, mushroom. All right, let's try that again. Ah, yes. I gotta throw it and then left click. Get him, Vine. So you throw it, then you left click again to explode it. And that'll heal and pull enemies in. But people tend to really enjoy this version of it, which I gotta wait for the cooldown. 2 seconds. 1 second. This one, which heals, and that is really nice, and it'll heal 5 nearby allies. It'll keep throwing heals at them and stuff, so it's very nice. All right, Spiritual Wing uses nature energy to sprout wings on the caster's back to rapidly fly towards allies while evading attacks. Removes all crowd control effects. The cooldown of Spiritual Wing is not applied, however it cannot be used while crowd controlled. Changes Spiritual Wing so it is only used on enemies and not allies. While using the skill, it flies to the target and deals 220 power, has nature damage, and inflicts stun for 1 second to a max of 7 enemies within a surrounding 2-meter radius. Cannot be used while crowd controlled. Also summons a Spirit Bird when Spiritual Wing is used, wherever the cooldown is increased by 50%. I wonder if that could be used to also get a second one. You know, you summon one and then you use this dash and there's 2 Spirit Birds out. I wish we had this unlocked. I would have tested that. Unrelenting Wing. Changes Spiritual Wing into a designated range skill that can be used even if there are no surrounding allies. Using the skill cancels and removes the crowd control effect. Creates a 4-meter radius flower bed at the arrival point it flies to for 4 seconds. Grants allies located within the flower bed 60 power as natural healing every second. We're going to change this so we can use it on enemies and try it out. Spiritual Wing. Should be able to right click. Boom. Does damage and stuns him. Get away from me. Uh-oh, I hit the other one. Come on, let's dash him one more time. Boom. Alright. Getting towards the end now. Sunrise. Oh, we gotta wait. We gotta wait for our cooldowns here. Sunrise. Summons a small sun in front of the caster that deals damage when it hits enemies. Ooh, this one's good. I see a lot of people liking this skill. Pulling a bunch of enemies into the circle that you can control. Really nice. Take a look at this one. This is the unmodified version. You can move it around and pull enemies in. It's pretty good. Changes into a designated range skill to activate effects in the designated range. Removes the effect that pulls in targets when hit, but it increases the power by 30% higher than before. Changes into a charging skill that activates an explosion in the corresponding location when it stays active for at least 3 seconds. The explosion deals 450 power as light damage and inflicts stun for 2 seconds when it hits a target. Increase the power of Sunrise by 15%. Increase the effect range by 25% and the power by 20% every 0.35 seconds when the skill is used. Look at the size of that thing in that video. That's what she said. Yeah, I know someone's going to say that. So this is... Okay, so it explodes. Let's see. I'm gonna see if I can hold this. Ooh, that's cool. I like it. Sunrise is a pretty awesome skill. Daybreak summons a compressed sun for 4 seconds to deal light damage to surrounding enemies every second and inflicts stun when it hits an enemy's 4 times. Invincibility grants immunity from all attacks and harmful effects. Light scattering immobilizes and disables skills. That's so good. This class gets some nasty skills, man. Dash can be used while the skill is active, so you can sprint. Increases the skill power by up to 2 times as the caster's HP decreases. Using the skill activates Radiance, which launches a Lightsphere to the front every second. Lightsphere's skill attribute effect is applied to the projectile launched by Radiance. Grants invincibility to allies located within the range when the skill is used. Increase the power of Daybreak by 25%. That's nuts. That's crazy. Look at that, throwing out projectiles with this thing. Come on. Long cooldown though. When it comes off cooldown. Brilliant Grasp. Creates chains of light that immobilizes enemies and pulls them in front of you while dealing damage. Increases the duration of Brilliant Grasp by 2 seconds to pull in enemies 7 additional times. Increase the cooldown and energy cost of Brilliant Grasp by 50%. Changes the skill to pull in enemies towards you at once. Deals 250 power as light damage when it hits a target. The final blow of Brilliant Grasp forcibly pulls in the connecting light to deal 300 power as light damage and inflict knockdown. Increases Brilliant Grasp's cooldown by 25% and increases its power by 25%. Activates Brilliant Sphere when the skill is used. Brilliant Sphere advances in a random direction while it pulls enemies within a 10-meter radius towards the sphere's location every second for 7 seconds. After 7 seconds, Brilliant Sphere explodes to deal 300 power as light damage and inflict knockdown on surrounding enemies. However, additional effects related to the mana Awakening's projectile does not apply. Changes into stackable skill 2 times. You can have 2 of those. Wow. Pull them in and then use this. It's pretty good. Root Abyss. Summons a Root Abyss that pulls enemies to the caster's location while dealing damage. Pulls enemies towards the caster of the roots, dealing damage every second while active. Changes into a designated range skill so it can be used in a desired location. Can be combined with a Root Abyss Explosion combo skill while Root Abyss is active. Root Abyss explodes when the combo skill Root Abyss explodes when the combo skill explodes to deal 300 power as nature damage and inflict airborne to the same existing range. Increases the effect and power of Root Abyss by 50%, the duration by 4 seconds, and the max number of blows by 2. Grants beneficial effects to the caster located inside the Root Abyss. Recovers the caster's energy by 50 every second and decreases the remaining cooldown of nature property skills by 1 second. Wow. Root Abyss. We're going to try this one. Come get it. Pull them in. I can make it explode. Ooh. Alright. Summon Spirit Golem. Activates the starlight in the sky to drop a meteor to the ground. The falling meteor deals damage to surrounding enemies and transforms into a golem as soon as it hits the ground. Golem deals 180 to 400 physical damage with every attack and also applies Stiffen. Has a chance to attack nearby enemies with knockdown. Jeez. Skill attributes. Increase the duration of Golem Spirit by 10 seconds. Increases the summoner's max HP by 15% while the golem is summoned. Changes the spirit into a fire property golem. The summoned fire golem deals 100 power as fire damage to surrounding enemies within a 5-meter radius every 2 seconds. Has a chance to inflict armor melt when it hits enemies. Armor melt increases damage taken by 15% for 10 seconds. Changes the spirit into an ice property golem. Icy thorns shoot out to up to 10 meters in front every time the summoned ice golem makes an attack. Icy thorns deal 200 power as ice damage and has a 50% chance to inflict freeze every time it hits a target. Has a chance to deal 405 power as ice damage and a 50% chance to inflict deep freeze to a circular range with a 5-meter radius. The freeze immobilizes for 3 seconds. The deep freeze is crowd control for 5 seconds. Has a 100% chance to inflict stun for 1 second when targets are hit with the summoned golem's attacks and increases all damage dealt by the golem by 50%. Fire golem, go! So you're also a summoner if you're a healer. That's right. Sunbeam. Surround yourself in dazzling light to rapidly recharge light property skills. Resets the cooldown of light property skills by 100%. Shine sunlight on random locations 10 times within a 15-meter range when the skill is used. Deals the same damage and effects as the existing sunlight when this sunlight hits a target. Changes the skill effect to decrease the remaining cooldown of light property skills by 50% and also decrease the skill cooldown by 50%. Huh. Expands the skill's effect range and resets the remaining cooldown of all light and nature property skills. Effectively resets the remaining cooldown of all mystic skills. Using Sunbeam enables all light property skills other than Sunbeam to be used without a cooldown for 5 seconds. However, the skills that were already in cooldown before using Sunbeam won't be reset. What? So you can nuke someone with like... That is wild. So this resets cooldowns of a bunch of stuff. So if I use this, use this, use this, that doesn't have a cooldown, use this. So look at my cooldowns down at the bottom right now. If I use this, all back up again. So can I get a... Yeah, I can have 2 golems at once. Class is pretty crazy. It's pretty wild. Some pretty wild stuff on this class. People that play healers in MMOs, you will not be disappointed with this class. I can tell you that right now. It's one of the amazing things about this game. The class designs are just amazing. Really, really impressive stuff. So guys, that was it for the Mystic. That was a long video. Hopefully you guys learned a lot. Hopefully you guys liked that video. If you did like it, please consider subscribing, throwing us a like. Really appreciate that. Down below, you're going to find information about our guild, the Oranthul, if you're looking to join a guild for Elyon or Elyon, however we pronounce it, or any future MMOs. We play a lot of MMOs together. We've been a guild for a long time, 15 years. Plus this channel's Discord, the guild's Discord, this channel's Twitch, all that good stuff down below. So thank you very much for watching, and I will catch you guys in the next video. Alright? Catch you guys in the next video. Skiddat!